Good morning, everyone. Look at this. It is 11 o'clock on the nose, right on the button here. And it's Wednesday as well. It's 2025, it's January. And that means it's time for Elevenses with the reps at Diesel. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As you know, every Wednesday we get together here in our wonderful little crowdcast space, and we meet with our fantastic publishers, representatives, and our terrific booksellers, and we talk about books, new, recently released, upcoming titles, some old favorites, whatever we think is worth talking about this week, and they're all worth talking about, let's face it. And we have our terrific sales reps here to point us in the right direction. And also, as you know, we post links to these wonderful books in the chat bar over there with links so that you can order them from Diesel and go back later if you don't want to leave the conversation to click on things. But I guarantee you'll be wanting to give everything we talk about here today a second look, or order it. That said, I'm going to introduce everybody in a second, and we're going to get rolling. Feel free to ask questions or comments in the chat area there. I want to mention again that, as you know, there have been terrible fires in the LA area. Everybody knows. Everybody who's watching knows about this. We are both in our Diesel location and our sister store, Camino Books, down here in Del Mar, collecting books for victims of the fires, people needing to replenish school libraries, personal libraries, books for kids, and all of that. So you can check that out on the websites or in the stores. And I also want to talk about events briefly. We've had to reschedule a few, and normally I talk about those here, but I'm going to have Joey pop up the link. There it is. Oh, 2 links. Yes. There you can click on that for fire relief information, what we're doing, and then Joey is going to post the link for our events and what's happening with those, because we had to reschedule a few. And as always, I thank you guys all for coming in the middle of this topsy-turvy time. It's been really difficult, and I appreciate it. We all appreciate it so much. All right, that said, let me introduce who is here with us today. We have Andrea Tetrick joining us from PGW. Always lovely to see you, Andrea. And we have our fine Random House rep, Wade Lucas, who we are also especially happy to see because we don't see enough of Wade, but we'll be seeing more of him.
I like being just fine, Deborah. Thanks. I kid.
And joining us, and she filled in at the last minute, which I am very grateful for, is Kelsey up there in Brentwood, and she's looks like the medicine cabinet.
I know. So bad.
In the store. And of course, behind the scenes, we have the indefatigable Joey, posting links, answering questions, and generally being a font of knowledge. So all of that said, let us get rolling. Andrea, start us off.
Okay, thanks. I want to talk about a book of poetry first off, and the poet will be appearing at Diesel in early February, so I think that would be appropriate to start with. It's What She Wants, Poems on Obsession, Desire, Despair, and Euphoria, from Kim Dower, aka Kim from LA. She is a longstanding book industry stalwart in SoCal. Everybody knows her. She's fantastic. She's a lovely person and quite a fine poet as well. And the last book that she wrote I wrote this book for you, Mom. Diesel did exceedingly well with. I think that they actually sold more copies than any other Southern California indie, which is no small feat considering that everybody supports Kim's work, Kim from LA's work. So that's something to be proud of, Dieselites. And this book, it is basically, we're almost sold out, like just at pub date. There's been a huge rush on these books. Another collection of inventory is coming in soon, but there's plenty at Diesel in preparation and readiness for the February 2nd event, and that's a Sunday. So mark that on your calendars. It's going to be great. Always entertaining. Her exchanges are always one for the ages, those events. So check that out. Let me just read what John Evans of Diesel Camino Books fame says about this collection. Psychologically astute and playfully resolute at evoking the irrevocable desire for love, attraction, seduction, and yes, companionship. Oh yeah, that little thing, companionship. In comparison to love and attraction and seduction, anyway, what she wants belongs on every bookshelf, not just for poetry lovers, but the poetry is there, singing its echoing delight through the lines like desire itself, and enticing, resolving, and picturing the myriad ways we are compelled by desire and all its fruits. So there you go. That's quite the endorsement.
I love this cover. I really love this cover. It's such a great cover. But also, you're right. Everybody does know Kim. I saw a really funny, well, and it was a great little piece that an interview somewhere. I don't remember. Maybe it was Shelf Awareness. I'm not sure. But talking about why she's known as Kim from LA, why everybody just knows her as Kim from LA and not anything else. I don't just, I don't think people even know her last name really. She's just Kim from LA. Because she had to, in the beginning when she was starting her or calling, I guess before she started her own shop doing publicity, she had a really long title, so she would just call people and say, "Hey, it's Kim from LA," and then that's just who she became. But she's always been a fantastic poet as well, and has kept that up throughout. And she is an absolute favorite, and it's another great book from her. So yeah, well worth picking up. Definitely.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that this is from Red Hen Press, a local small indie press of note. So
aren't they out of literally out of Pasadena, Red Hen Press?
Yeah. And so those, that area was hard hit by the wildfires. So always to support the local indie presses, especially at this time.
Thank you, Andrea. Wait.
All right. So my first book is The Full Moon Coffee Shop, right, Joey? This time. So I want to do things
he's on it.
All right. So I want to do things a little bit in reverse this time. I was talking to a longtime bookseller friend of mine when I was in San Diego yesterday. Hi, San Diego, folks. And she was just asking me, she's like, I haven't read anything like an entire book in a long time. I just want something I can't put down, something that's charming, and it'll just help me escape right now. And honestly, honest to goodness, out of newer books, this is the one that popped into my head. It's translated from Japanese. It was a big bestseller there. And I don't want to spoil too much, but there are cats. There's a mystery and coffee. And
do you need anything else? Probably not.
What?
Do you need anything else? I mean,
no, not really. I mean, an excellent shirt, perhaps.
Right, an excellent shirt.
But anyway, I know it sounds kind of flippant going, cats, mystery, a little bit of magical realism. However, this is so well written and it just glides. Like, and it's not super long. Again, just charm, wonderful. Everybody needs a little escape right now, I think. That's the Full Moon Coffee Shop.
It does what it says on the tin, or in this case, the cover, as Joey says. It's escape is the name of the game right now. I mean, not total escape, but I just read something similar that we'll be talking about in a few months probably, which is just something that engages you. It gets you in there, but also allows you to just sort of detach from, like the doom
Well, there's nothing
scrolling.
wrong with
And
that at all.
I listen. I think that everything should be like that now. And it's like a mental health imperative. And so, like I said earlier, what do you need else? Coffee, cats, books. I mean, that's it, right?
Well, coming back from San Diego last night took me 4 hours because of, things going on. And I kind of, when I got home, of course, we read at night and stuff. My form of escapism, y'all are welcome to judge me. I started watching that show Traitors with Alan Cumming.
Traitors, that one?
Traitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
I
I'm
haven't I
happy to
haven't
talk
seen
with
it,
people
but
after.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There's nothing
think
wrong with pure fun.
no, pure fun. I watched a pirate show, you know?
All right.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Wade.
Thanks.
All right, Kelsey, let's go over to you.
Yeah. So I'm starting with a book today called Oversea Under Stone. It's been out for a long time. It is the first in a series called the Dark is Rising series. I think my grandmother gave this to me when I was in like middle school. So it is just like your 8 to 12-year-old age range, like in the stores, our kids junior reader range. I loved this series. I feel it has the same sort of vibes as C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Kind of that same idea, more towards that than towards like a Harry Potter. But the first book is about a set of 3 children who are on holiday in Cornwall, and they find a map, and they can tell right away that there's something special about the map. And so it leads them into this fight against these dark forces, hence the Dark is Rising. There's a grail that is magical. It's just such a wonderful fantasy series for kids who have like Harry Potter, who have like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and want something else like that. I think this is sort of underrated. People don't necessarily know about it quite as much. There's 5 books in the series, and then like the second one, you actually meet an entirely different character. Most of the story is about that, and then these 3 children and that other character collide in book 3, and fight the dark forces in hope for light throughout the last 3 books. It's really fun. I loved it a lot. Still remember it from however many years ago I read it.
Which is a comfort, right? So always can count on Kelsey to bring in this really important age group. It is though, because there's we have so many kids coming in, and they've read a lot of the series. This is what I see a lot. They've read all of the series, the Rick Riordans and the Percy Jacksons and the Harry Potters and all of this stuff, and they're looking for something else. And they like series, and they want to kind of keep it on track. And it's that magical 8 to 12 age group. And this is a great recommend for me. Thank you, Kelsey, and for anybody else who's looking for something new. I go to Wildwood usually, which is another great series. Colin Boy, yeah, which is great. But this is another one to have in your back pocket, to turn to. So
I remember this book was so formative for me.
Wasn't
I remember I think it was 3rd or 4th grade, my elementary school teacher talking about this book to us.
Really?
And then all of us nerds got together and started reading the series. And then, we had to pretend we were the characters, right?
So I'm not sure when did it when was it published for the first time?
I mean,
In the
truly,
60s. It was
like,
published in the 60s or early 70s.
Was it that far back? How did I miss
Yeah.
this?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my grandmother gave me this series.
mhm.
Um,
How have I missed this completely in my life?
and I'm telling you, yeah,
Pick it up
67,
now.
and they are the real deal. If anybody, I mean, this is this gold standard for fantasy.
Wow.
And I still have my copy of The Dark is Rising. I just saw it the other day, that my grandmother got at Vroman's back in the day.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love this. This is
Yeah.
so great. I missed this. I was reading Moomins and Ursula Le Guin, so I
Well,
get a pass, but I'm definitely gonna I
It's
wanna
right up there with
it's up
that.
there with Earthsea, Joey says.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my God, for sure. And I mean, I just feel like anybody, not to denigrate Harry Potter, but these are, I feel that these books, the world that is created and the writing is so much more rich,
Mhm.
so much richer, and I just think that these should be like hand sold forever by booksellers, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad you brought these up
Yeah.
because
I
they,
mean, yeah, that's what keeps it going, right? We remember what we read. We don't work on algorithms. We're real people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Good job,
Yeah.
Kelsey.
I mean, looking it up yesterday to like remind myself about it, I was like, oh, man, I might need to read this again. Just because it's been so long, and I was like, I might, yeah.
I ordered and reread all of the Moomin books. Yeah, recently. Yeah.
Well,
So.
you know, if we all reread them, we can go pretend we're the characters.
I often do.
yeah. Is, I indulged in the BBC has a series of a reader reading The Dark is Rising that have been, of course, like, you know, cut and adapted for radio, that was produced by Robert McFarlane and some other people, and those were great, and it just reminded me how good these were. So
Kelsey, an absolute winner. Yay.
Yes.
So excited.
Yeah. We're gonna, one of these days we're gonna have it all classics. Elevenses, and that's going to be really fun because it's just going to make me look really old, but that's all right. I don't mind. And I see your comment over there, Joey, and I'm not even going to touch it because that is a whole other session that we will have at some point.
Anyway. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, seriously though, they're so rich, and if somebody doesn't, if somebody likes, you know, the Harry Potter stuff, they're gonna love this. So.
Right. So here's and then Joey, thank you so much. Here's a BBC Dark is Rising link. Perfect.
Yeah, it will warm you up.
Just don't watch the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Please don't.
Always read the book. Always go for the books. Okay.
Yeah. Always read the book. Yeah.
Always read the books.
I had, you know, like an 8-year-old come in, and she was very sanguine about what she wanted to read and I don't remember the book but I do remember her saying very seriously, I'm not going to see the movie until I read the book because I like to get a good sense of the characters. I love kids so much.
Well, in this case, the movie's dreadful. So.
Isn't that the best? All right, great. Andrea, back to you.
Thank you. I want to talk next about another local author and a local publisher, Tiger Van Books, part of Prospect Park. It's an imprint of Prospect Park Books. Hollywoodsky by my favorite working class yeoman writer, Lou Matthews. He's been around for years. And writes exclusively about LA and LA characters. And he's a teacher at the UCLA Extension, so he definitely knows about the craft of writing and is a very well respected teacher. So he's got a lot going for him. And this is a novel in stories, non-linear. So it weaves back and forth through our protagonist's life. And his name is Dale Davis, and he is in some ways cursed by early writerly success. Comes to Hollywood and everything falls apart, and he's like a very talented writer, like arguably one of the best in the industry, and just can't get paid. And so he's struggling with cynicism and self-doubt as he ages. And so this follows him back and forth through time. The stories are compelling and really do form a really airtight novel. So, and I'm definitely a person who loves a novel and stories, because it's, each chapter is a story basically. And when you can pull that off, you got some chops. So I have a lot of respect, even more respect for Lou Matthews, whom I adore. And this one's a winner. And I do hope that you go and pick it up.
I love the look of this. I haven't seen it yet, Andrea. It's got all of my, my favorite elements, and that's a most excellent, although a little bit scary right now, cover on that book.
Yeah.
So yeah,
A little prescient there, but
I mean, yeah. But excellent, and sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm gonna have to take that one out and have a look.
yeah, he's the real deal, Lou Matthews, and couldn't, he's just such a lovely man. So,
and also like a plug for Prospect Park Books, and they put out really not a lot, but they're all amazing books. So and it's just recent fiction's a recent edition, isn't it? Or did they always do fiction?
Yeah, no, the Tiger Van is sort of their fiction. It's fiction heavy. This little imprint from Prospect
Right.
do a lot of nonfiction, as you're well to point out.
Yeah.
So
good to know. Thank you so much, Andrea. Okay, Wade, back to you.
Yay. Okay, so my next book is The English Problem, and this comes out on the 28th, so coming soon. And again, I'm on that charm offensive, folks.
Yeah.
The English Problem, not to be confused with the English Patient. Yeah, two different things. But so this book is set during the colonization of India. This young Indian man travels to London to go learn British law and bring the knowledge back and help the indigenous movement. And very, very interesting time in history. But also there's humor in this. There's cricket, which don't be scared. You don't have to learn how to play cricket.
Wicket.
Deborah, do you know the rules of cricket?
I know it's a good innings and a sticky wicket, and yeah, that's about it.
But anyway, this is so charming. There's such great historical context. And I want to read just a blurb that we got from Joseph O'Neill, who wrote Netherlands, if you remember that book.
Yep.
What a grand, sweeping, mesmerizing book this is. A richly detailed, politically profound story of love, migration, individuals caught up in the great convulsions of history. Wow. And what a glowing blurb. And this one does not disappoint. And I hope you find it as charming and wonderful as I do.
So Joey says here the whole book takes place over a single cricket match, and which is approximately the same duration as a stint in law school.
Thanks for the spoilers, Joey.
Have you read this one, Joey? Or you just read the back? Yeah, Andrea says she knows a little bit about cricket. I know I know a little. I know a little bit more about cricket than that. I mean, people can get very, very, very excited about cricket.
Oh,
Excited. Yeah, it can provoke some serious feelings. I think this is a great. It's a great setting. It's a great idea, and again, I think you're really got your finger on the pulse here, Wade, with the books that are, like just soothing in their way and just take you out of your own head for a second.
And you'll learn something too. It's not.
And you learn, yeah,
These are
exactly.
cues and situations that aren't written about often. So.
Exactly. And this one isn't. And I'm looking forward to this one as well.
great cover too.
It is a great cover. I'm not, you just want to just keep looking at it. It's great. All right. Thank you, Wade. Kelsey, back to you.
All right. Next book I'm doing, if you've ever been in the store, you've probably seen it up at the counter. That's basically where we always house it on our little shelves there. It's called Flowers for Things I Don't Know How to Say by Tucker Nichols. So this is a really beautiful little book. So each page has floral artwork by Tucker Nichols, and then it is accompanied with a little blurb of who those flowers could be for. And it ranges from things that are really sort of like heart-wrenching to things that are kind of funny and comical. I'll show you a couple of, so it sort of has a good range of things that are heartwarming, funny, sad, etc. So there's one that says flowers for anyone waiting for test results. And there's such beautiful, bright images. So even just to look through this book, sort of rest your mind to look at all these beautiful, bright paintings. This one I just think is lovely. Flowers for school bus drivers who didn't realize how much they'd like their jobs. I'm just finding one that's a funny one. Flowers for all the books I ever claimed to have read in college. So anyway, it's just these funny little blurbs made by beautiful paintings. This is one of my favorites. Flowers for everyone who stands up as soon as the plane stops taxiing. And that's a little two-page one. But anyway, basically, the whole book is just these bright, colorful floral paintings with these little sentiments. And it's just beautiful to look at. And yeah, so that is Flowers for Things I Don't Know How to Say by Tucker Nichols.
So, fun fact on this one, Kelsey, Maisie, I don't remember when, but it was a while back, and one of her, but this Maisie has moved on. She's no longer at Diesel, but still in the business, I think. But she also picked this one, and she talked about it. And I loved it, fell in love with it then when she was talking about it because I hadn't seen it. And I'm really glad that you brought it back again because this is just a perfect little book to pick up when you're at the counter and give to somebody or keep for yourself. There's a lot of give to somebody or keep to yourself kind of books these days, but this is really special. And it's beautiful. It's small. It's, can carry it around with you. And it's a great little gift if you can't think of anything else, because it's for anybody, right? So, so thank you for that one, Kelsey. I'm going to go back to Andrea.
Thank you. And my third book is from Columbia Global Reports. And this is In Defense of Partisanship. And it's by Julian E. Zelsner. And is an $18 trade paper original. So really quite a value here. And there's several books out there focusing on the negative consequences of partisanship. And I'm sure you've seen those in the stores. You might have a few in your library. But in this volume, the author offers a fresh and counterintuitive argument about why partisanship is actually good for democracy, healthy for it. And and he puts it all in historical context, which I like. So he can back up his arguments in the real world, and and I've actually heard this author on a few podcasts of late, and in the context of what's happening right now in this country, he suggests that fighting for what's right, instead of trying to work across the aisle when it is something that you don't believe in, is actually very healthy and perhaps necessary for the continuance of our democracy. So,
what a concept!
Yeah, what a concept. So get on it, Dems. Francis Lee from Princeton University encapsulates it pretty well, saying, contravening conventional wisdom, Zelizer offers a spirited defense of parties and partisanship. And that's really like, that kind of centers exactly, the tone of this book. It is spirited, and it's a quick read at 208 pages. So something that I think will stimulate conversation at dinner parties, and also people who are into reading nonfiction books for their book clubs. So that's my third pick, In Defense of Partisanship.
Yes. I feel like if you can, if you're able to sort of, a lot of people want to take a break completely from anything that has anything to do with politics, which I totally am on board with and understand. But a sort of a clear-eyed view with historical context. And I think this reaches, because a lot of times, there's a critique of these kinds of books that they're sort of preaching to the choir kind of a thing. So like the only person who would pick up a certain kind of book, on the left or the right or whatever, already, it's a bias confirmation or whatever. But I think this actually reaches like a broader section, because I feel like there is sort of a knee-jerk response on some, for some people, to say that no, we got to work together because that's what it means to be unified and that kind of thing. But this really delineates, what partisanship means, kind of a thing. It's like, no, this is what we stand for, kind of a thing. And working together doesn't mean, sacrificing your, your values and what you stand for, actually. So yeah, so it points it out here clearly. And I think that is a really valuable perspective for people. So,
yep.
If you're in the mood after you finish Wade's books, then you pick this one up. Excellent. Thanks, Andrea. All right, Wade.
Okay, my next book, and this is the next two I'm going to talk about, are a look into the future.
No,
because we all should be looking into the future right now.
I think we're in it. We're there.
Yeah. So The Great Man. If you're a fan of Great Gatsby, oh boy. I have to tell you, honestly, when I first read this, it was blind. It was a manuscript before our sales conference, and no artwork, no nothing. I devoured it, loved it. And before our sessions even started, where we go to talk about this with the editors and the publicists and everybody, all the reps were kind of going, okay, this is going to be a thing. So it's a Los Angeles author, and it is a retelling of The Great Gatsby, but in the Sugar Hill area, like West Adams, currently in LA. And she really goes into what's happening in LA at the time period. The characters are wonderful, and you will recognize some names. Oh man, it made me immediately, I don't have time, who has time, want to go back and read The Great Gatsby again, because I haven't read that since probably high school. And I can't recommend this highly enough. Pre-order it. It's going to be fantastic. And like I said, that hunch, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a thing. And I love, maybe a lot of book groups don't necessarily pick hardcovers, but I think I love these opportunities where you can compare and contrast a classic with a new book. And so The Great Man would work great with a reread of The Great Gatsby. I know around the holidays, I know that's we just got through them, right? But I
That's
know
it.
several
I
book
mean,
groups that kind of take
yeah.
long stretches, either in the summer or around the holidays. So you have a couple months, maybe instead of just a month or whatever, and you can fit two books in there. You could do The Great Man and The Great Gatsby.
So let me ask you a question, Wade, since I have not read this and I'm very intrigued. And I love that cover, by the way. The
It's
art,
great.
that's spectacular, yeah. Um, so James has been, James is really in people's minds, and it's still going, and book clubs have read James along with Huckleberry Finn as well. So how do we place that in context with James?
There actually it was. We made a lot of comparisons to James just thematically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the writing is very different. I will say that,
Right, right,
but it's for the experience. And like I said, those characters are just wonderfully imagined. And like I said, you are going to recognize some names from LA history,
right, right.
and I guess I don't know. I guess this is a little inside book selling, but I may get to do kind of a industry only little meet and greet with the author, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited. This is going to be a big book here.
Yeah, what is the publication date again?
June 10th.
Oh, okay. So we're out. Thank you, Joey. Yeah, we're out a ways. Okay, excellent. All right. Well,
As you know, we read so far ahead that it's something
well, I
like this
know.
where I'm so
I know.
excited. I want to talk about it. I want to talk.
It's the well, we'll talk about it again. It's a perpetual problem. It's a good problem to have in book selling when people ask me, "What have you read? What are you reading right now?" It's like, well, it doesn't come out until July, but it's great. You're gonna love it. Um, so Andrea Stein asks, "Is this set in the same time period?"
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
or
Yeah, no,
45, a little bit later. Okay, 45. But yeah, so that's been interesting. That's really was my question about thematically. I know because Percival Everett really uses language in a different way, and
Mhm.
but thematically, it sounds like it's sort of kind of going for the same kind of a thing. So it's just super interesting. I'm totally intrigued. I haven't read it yet, but you know what? It
It's
just
really
went to
good,
the
Jennifer.
top of the to be read pile. Excellent. Well, we'll talk about this again, Wade. But I'm glad you're talking about it today. So we'll put a pin in that. Pre-order. Thank you. Back to you, Kelsey.
All right. So my third book's going in a totally different direction. Um, we've got a lot of these really like large kids books. They're very visually beautiful with a lot of information in the store. We keep them in the window a lot. They're on display. And one of my favorites that is both a fun activity along with learning something is Greek myths and mazes. So it looks like this. It's very large, um, but it's
Yeah.
a really, really cool book because so there's a lot of information in the back, which is fun. So like when you look, it's literal mazes on every page. This is an actual maze that you can do. But within the maze, there's going to be a little bit of a story to tell you what that maze is representing within Greek mythology. And then it gives you a page number in the back of the book that will give you additional information. So as you're going through the maze, there are little points at which they have information about whatever they're referring to. So this one is the Trojan War Part 3, the conquest of Troy. So you can see that like the Trojan horse is at the middle. Um, one near the beginning, Prometheus and the people, and that sort of gives the story about Prometheus up at the top of all of these. And again, there's this maze that you can do. And then again, if you want more information and I want to learn more, you go to page 56. And now there's going to be sort of like more information about Greek characters and timelines. And there's a cool, the back here somewhere, um, like family tree of Greek gods and heroes. So this is really cool as well. Family free. But it's just so much fun because you get to do this activity of these mazes while also learning all this cool information about Greek mythology.
So I just sold a copy of this the other day to a young reader who was looking to learn more about the Greek myths. It's a fantastic book. We always have it in stock, and we're always reordering it because it does cover so many bases, I think. And it's amazing. It's Pun Day Wednesday.
See what you did there.
And you see what you did there. Yep. And that does have all that great information as well, without being like super, you know, a lot of information to take in all at the same time, and it's fun. It's really fun,
Right.
and there's activity with it as well, which is great. So
I have a question.
Yeah,
because it just occurred to me thinking about it. So, and forgive me if you already mentioned this in the beginning, but I know we have a link down here to click to see what we're doing for fire relief. And this book kind of had me thinking about, you know, schools that have had damage and libraries. Do you have a program for people to donate to schools locally?
so we're doing down at Camino Books, we're doing 25% off. So if you wanted to buy this book, we have a list of schools and other organizations that we're sending boxes to as they fill up. So you get 25% off your purchase if you're donating it there. Or we're also taking thank you, Joey, partnering with local book drives to distribute the books as well. So but that's if you want to donate a specific book, you can pick this one and do that.
So should people just call this Camino or Diesel?
Yeah, and then the Joey's got that link over there. I don't know, I can't click on it right now, but I mean, yeah. But you can also absolutely you can call, and a couple of people have called actually wanting to donate, just give their books, and we are also taking those. If you have a book already, if it's like new-ish, you know, and in really good shape, then we'll take those as well. Oh, thank you, Joey. You can buy the books through our website. There are catalogs to buy from, and you can select for donation at checkout. That's super easy. Couldn't be easier. And then let us know, and and that's up there in LA, and down in Del Mar. You're welcome to come in, and ask or call. Yeah,
that's wonderful. Thank you.
The Diesel website has a GoFundMe as well. Donations to go towards this book drive, also towards one of our coworkers who has, although her place where she was living is still standing, it's uninhabitable, and she's probably most of her stuff is not going to be usable. And it's Julia Fierro, who's a local LA author who we've done some events with. She's doing something called the LA Wildfire Book Drive, and so we're partnering with her. So any books that get donated, we're going to take to her for her book drive, and she's going to work on getting those out to families, to schools, to whoever needs
them. Thanks, Kelsey. Yeah, and that's just us, but also, you know, we're a big community. We're in a real tight community, the bookseller community in Southern California, in California in general, but especially in Southern California. So any of your other local bookstores, independent bookstores, everybody's doing something. Romans has been really doing a lot. They're also giving a lot of books and donating books, and they've got a whole center. And I think Octavia Bookshop was doing something as well in Pasadena. So lots of ways to give. Book Soup too, I think. So lots of ways to give and donate. The book people are on it. So thanks for the question, Wade. Alrighty, so now we get to have a little bonus round, an extra book from both Andrea and Wade. Andrea, why don't you give us your bonus round pick?
Okay, thanks so much. I am very excited to talk about They, A Sequence of Unease. This is by Kay Dick. And it's well, first off, back in the fall, I was delighted to learn that we were soon going to represent McNally Editions under the Publishers Group West distro line. And they're a classics house. They bring back titles that should have never been out of print, or sort of gone into a deep, dark backlist in inert state. um, and I received a few books from McNally Editions, just to give all of the reps. All of the reps received books just to give us an idea about what the line was about if we weren't familiar. But I've known about them before, but I did receive this book and I read it over the holiday break. And now I'm even more excited, if it were possible, that McNally is in our rep bag as of January 1st. So this book is set in England in an unnamed time, in the hills and beaches of Sussex. And the order of the day is this bland conformity and impersonality. And it's being regulated, and this sort of lack of art and culture is being regulated by a mysterious group of violent gangs that roam the countryside, destroying art and culture and brutalizing anybody who resists the purge. And so people are disappearing. And it's pretty rough stuff, but it all kind of happens off of the page, which is even more chilling in many ways. Mm-hmm. As the menacing they of the title get closer and closer, a loosely connected band of dissidents, our heroes, our protagonists, attempt to evade these mobs and help each other out. And things occur, like certain volumes of books in their libraries start to disappear. You go out for a walk and you come back, and The Great Gatsby is gone, or Sappho's poetry and whatnot has disappeared from your book collection until suddenly all of your books are gone. And so these folks valiantly try to evade what's going on and to continue their art. But it's really only a matter of time until their luck runs out. And it's, like I said, it's chilling, it's prescient. And this book really threw me for a loop as it, paints a picture of a world hostile to beauty and emotion and the individual itself. And it's definitely a cautionary tale. And a backlist title that I think should be displayed like a hot new book in the front of stores. Mm-hmm. The writing is incredible. This was first published in 1976, and I'm just so glad that McNally Editions brought it back. There's an afterword by Lucy Scholes, who is a writer and critic of some note, a young up-and-coming literary star. And Kay Dick herself had an interesting life. She was the first director of a publishing company in England, and which is pretty sad that it took until the 70s for that to happen. But anyway, a writer and personality of note, Kay Dick.
again, I feel like a lot of these, last week I talked about the Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, and how that's now moved to the current events nonfiction section. It used to be sci-fi fantasy. And these are, writers seem to always be writing about this kind of thing, and they're always prescient, and things sort of go around and come around and again. And so, this is, I think you're right, new book, new time, and really worth exploring. And as everybody has pointed out, this is an amazing cover. It just draws you right in. I haven't read it myself. I'm really intrigued by both the author and the content here. So, oh, Joey says only 128 pages. You can breeze right through it. I'm about to do another display of hard hitting but extremely short books, which is always a popular display, and there's a lot of them. And they're great that you can read in like one sitting but stay with you for a long time.
Yeah. I'm going to get you a copy of this. I have a copy here that I can send you. Because this is definitely up your alley, and it's in your wheelhouse, as they say.
It is in my wheelhouse, absolutely. Yeah.
And I cannot. I mean, I'm an evangelist for this book. I cannot stop talking.
I always listen to Andrea, by the way. I mean, I listen to everybody, but I mean, if Andrea really goes on about a book, I know
going on.
Then I know it's a great book. Well, that is a good way to wrap things up. Except no, Wade's gonna wrap it up for the day. No. Did we finish everybody?
No, it's no. Wade's turn.
It is Wade's turn.
I was just going along with it. I'm like, yeah, let's
no, Wade's got another book. Like, I did this last week too. Forgive me. I'm sorry. It's been a very long couple of weeks. I know.
And then this is only going to make me want another one of Wade's titles. So
I'm sorry. Wade is going to play us out with his last book. Sorry, Wade. Go ahead.
Sing something.
What?
Do you want me to sing something?
I know. Let's do the book, and then you can sing something.
Okay. So very briefly, I know everyone has things to do. Atmosphere. I want to, again, this is a far look into the future, and I know this is also coming in June, but I wanted to start talking about this early because it's our friend Taylor Jenkins Reid novel Atmosphere. And it's so different for her. It is a love story, a fabulous novel, but it's set during the 80s around the space shuttle program. So fascinating stuff. The characters she writes so well, the dialogue. And again, she finds these very clever ways to tie in, I think we all call it the Taylorverse, right? Yeah. All of her books have these threads that are so interesting and so fun to find. I don't want to announce anything yet unless Joey does.
Well, we're doing signed copies. Yes. What else are we doing? What else are we doing?
That's basically it.
Okay.
Copies. And I'm sure the minute an event gets announced, you all will know.
Yeah.
Make sure you subscribe to the store newsletters, people.
Yeah. TJR Cinematic Universe. Taylor Jenkins Reid is a friend of the store, has been for a long time. We love her books. It's just she's got her own little section over there. It's great. But I am glad you're talking about it, even though it's not out for a bit. Wade, both of your forthcoming books, we'll talk about them again, but it's great to talk about them now as well. Everybody loves her, but what I really, from like just a writer point of view, love about Taylor Jenkins Reid is that she's not afraid to like sort of go to like obscure kind of. She doesn't do the same book over and over again, ever really, and she likes to explore these kind of unique pockets in history or events or, something that defines a time period, and really like get in there. She did that sort of with Daisy Jones and the Six, and then the last one was about tennis, and then and now the space shuttle program. I love that. I think that's great that she maintains her audience, and because people love her style, they love her characters, they love her plots, but she goes in these other directions, which is great, and I'm glad her publisher, which is you, Wade, allows her to do that, because sometimes authors really get very, very boxed in to kind of series types of things, or the same kind of over and over again. But she doesn't do that, which is fantastic.
And I
And
think,
so,
you have to consider too that Diesel Brentwood were kind of, I mean, a little bit geography there, but so much aerospace is in the South Bay. I mean,
right.
I think she's going to find all sorts of new readers for this
Yeah,
book.
and I think she does with every new book. Also,
Yeah.
she brings in other readers, and it's really great to like look around for readers who are new to her, or wanting to know which one to go to next, and find kind of a spot where they're comfortable, which is great.
So if people want to pre-order signed copies, they should call the store.
I think we probably have that on the website. I don't think you have to call, right, Joey? You can order from the
Yeah.
link right
Great.
there. Yeah. And we'll
Yeah,
have a
web
lot
order
of
is even
them.
better.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of
And
them.
it's listed on her signed book page on the website
Right,
already.
because in
Yeah.
case you all don't know, we also do her backlist, her other books, and there's some really nice special editions. She does the Seven Husbands, Evelyn Hugo, off the top of my head. But we have a special page over there if you want her to sign other books of hers, not just the forthcoming one. So
Love that
there's
Taylor.
special relationship, yeah. So well, now that is the end, and that is a perfect way to end. And forgive me again, Wade, I'm sorry. I did it last week with Julia. It's like, oh, just skipped you. All
Hey, I
right.
was going with it. I'm like, I don't know. What's Christmas
Yeah,
favorite book?
you think. Um, Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time to join us today and talk about all these fantastic books. Andrea Tetrick from PGW, Wade Lucas from Random House, Kelsey in Brentwood, Joey, of course, behind the scenes with all the information. And for everybody else who's tuning in today, we really appreciate it. We love seeing you. We're going to be back again next week with more reps and more books, and we'll have more fun stuff to talk about. So hope you will
Stay
come back.
safe and be
And
kind to
stay
each
safe,
other.
everybody. Be careful. Wear a mask. Don't breathe the ash, and all of that good stuff. We have like a few more days of crazy weather, and hopefully it'll calm down soon. So, in the meantime, read a book. Lots to choose from here. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.